Chapter 2. Someone's at Crystal's front door, knocking, more like pounding. Maybe it's Dad, saying I forgot to pack my phone charger. "I got it, Crystal," I say, checking the peephole. It's a man, but not Dad. He's wearing a uniform, like a state trooper or a cop. My eyebrows furrow, and I open the door quickly, yet somehow reluctantly, all the same. "Good evening, ma'am," he says. "Is Annika Vienta here?" "That's me. Is something wrong?" "Yes, I'm afraid I have bad news." My heart suddenly feels like lead, though it's racing 100 beats a second. Crystal comes up behind me, placing her hands on my shoulders. "I'm very sorry," the man begins, "but your parents, I assume, Richard and Vanessa Vienta, were killed tonight in a fire." Crystal and I gasp. I feel like I've been stabbed in the gut. "What?" I ask aloud. Are you sure?" He nods sadly. "Yes, ma'am." I can't believe this. No, please, God, don't let this be true. I can't lose them. I don't know if I'm about to scream, cry, faint, or throw up, but he finishes before my body will do any of the above. "I'm sorry," he says again, "but we'll need you to identify the bodies." Those words, so quiet and few, twist the knife, and I crumple to the floor, a wail tearing through my throat. Crystal hugs my trembling frame, dissolving into tears with me. Annika opened her eyes, her own gasp awakening her. When she realized it had only been a dream, she sighed and sat upright, running her hands through her hair, feeling the sweat spreading to her palms, though the day had barely begun. When would this end? When would she stop reliving her parents' death? Stop being tormented by this murder? Whether she was helping a client or not, this case mocked her, taunting her that she would never find the answer, never succeed in finding closure and letting her parents rest in peace. She knew they wouldn't expect her to do the impossible, yet she wouldn't be able to live with herself if she gave up. She'd forever wonder if she had given up right before the final clue gave way. This was for her parents, but it was also for her. Once the killer was behind bars or in a grave of his own, she could put it behind her and focus on life? Whatever that was. She had been surrounded by crime scene photos, fingerprints, and lab reports for so long she didn't remember what normal life felt like anymore. Annika rubbed the back of her neck. More sweat. She needed to get up and go for a run. Something, anything, to distract herself from that recurring nightmare. Blast the music in her ears, block out the rest of the world. Before she could attempt to move, though, Steve, her orange tabby cat, jumped onto the bed and lay next to her. Annika was convinced Steve was part dog the way he acted. He responded to his name, came when she called, followed her around like a puppy. He even asked to go outside so she didn't need a litter box. "Great, just when I was about to get up, Steve," she chided. Steve only purred and got into a more comfortable position. Annika felt herself smile. There was something very comforting about having a pet around. He seemed to pick up on her emotional state. If she was having a bad day or sick with a cold, he was stuck to her like a magnet, even more than usual. Giving his head an affectionate scratch, Annika eased out of bed and got ready for the day. Within 15 minutes, she was slipping on her running shoes and putting in her earbuds. Nothing like a little hard rock and exercise to clear the fog. Later that afternoon, Annika arrived at the deli where she and Stacy Matthews had agreed to meet. She found her outside, sitting at a metal table. Annika assumed it was her. She was the only person sitting alone, and she seemed to be looking for someone. "Stacy Matthews?" "Yes," the woman answered. "Hi, I'm Annika Vienta. We spoke on the phone earlier today." She stretched out her hand. Stacy shook it. "Right, hi. Would you like something to eat?" Annika sat down. "Oh, I've already eaten. I'll just get a drink." After they had ordered, Stacy asked, "So, how can I help you, Miss Vienta?" "Well, like I said on the phone, my client, Cameron Baines, grew up in the orphanage where you worked. He was adopted 20 years ago, when he was 8. I know that's a really long time ago, but this picture was taken of him when he was 6 years old." She slipped it out of her camouflage purse and handed it over. "Does anything about it spark a memory about him? How he came to the orphanage? Anything—" "Oh, I do remember him!" Stacy exclaimed. "That's me with him in this picture." "What?" Annika asked in disbelief. She took a closer look. Sure enough, it was Stacy. Same eyes, same laugh lines. "It's crazy. What are the odds?" Stacy handed it back to her. "Yes, I do remember Cameron. He was so sweet, such a good little boy." Annika pulled out her notepad and pen, but maintained a relaxed posture. Good thing she had kept the picture. It had apparently triggered a memory for Stacy. "His mother gave him up at St. Luke's Hospital," Stacy began. She felt she couldn't care for him by herself, being pregnant and unwed. Her family had kicked her out. It's a very sad yet very common story. Monica nodded, continuing to write notes in her pad. Cameron was a delight. He was so affectionate, always hugging me, and if my arms were full, he'd hug my legs instead. Monica laughed. That's so sweet. Nowadays, kids have to be reminded to show affection. Mm-hmm, Stacy agreed. The waiter arrived with our drinks and set them on the table in silence. After a quick thank you, Stacy continued. When Cameron was adopted, I was overjoyed. Children are a gift, and they need a stable family unit. There are a lot of parents that think they're doing their job simply because they provide, but it's so much more than that. We have to train them in the right way. Love them. Annika had become silent, pen in midair. This woman truly loved children. No wonder she used to work in an orphanage. Stacy reminded her of her own mother, loving and passionate about what she believed in. Stacy smiled, stirring her tea. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox now. No need to apologize. I agree. Parents are the ones who raise us and teach us. They should be our best friends, as long as we don't treat them like an equal in authority. Exactly, Stacy said. You and your parents must be close. Monica glanced downward and took a sip of her water. Yes, ma'am. That's beautiful. Stacy seemed to understand the need to change the subject and cleared her throat. So, how is Cameron? Oh, I've only talked to him for a few minutes, but he's a doctor, a pediatrician. He works with his father. They have their own practice together. He seems like a good, well-adjusted young man. That is wonderful. Oh, I'm so proud, so happy for him. After another few minutes of conversation, Annika rose. Well, I better head over to the hospital and see if I can find anything. Thank you so much, Miss Stacy. She shook her hand. I enjoyed our talk, and you've given me great info for the case. Good, I'm glad I could help. And thank you, I enjoyed talking with you too. Stacy touched Annika's arm lightly, a note of caution in her eyes. And Annika, I don't want you to get your hopes up too high. Most mothers who abandon their children don't want to be found. They struggle with enormous guilt. I understand, but it's my job. I have to follow this all the way through. Right. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I really do hope you find Cameron's mother and that she's willing to see him. Thank you. So do I. Stacy waved goodbye. Oh, and the next time you talk to Cameron, tell him Miss Stacy says hi. Annika waved back with a light laugh. Yes, ma'am, I will. At St. Luke's Hospital, Annika had her hands across the counter, hoping she could pass off as a girl named Cameron. Please, I've been searching for years. She put on the best teary-eyed little girl look she could muster. I just want the chance to meet my mom. She gave a strangled sob, hoping that would seal the deal. The nurse squinted his brown eyes at her in sympathy, but not enough. I'm sorry, miss, but it's against policy. She pulled out a 50, facade gone. My little green friend here doesn't think so. Come on, just a peek. It's for a client, a good cause. He hesitated. If Grant's got a twin brother, I know I could find it. Holding back the desire to make a face, Annika supplied the money. He snatched it, stuffing it into his scrubs pocket. You an actress? Not a very good one, apparently. Chuckling, he tapped away at his computer. After a minute, he quietly said, There was a Cameron Soul born here on the date you gave me. Sharon Soul is the mother. Annika's pen raced across the page, energized with this new information. Yes, jackpot! Awesome, thank you. He patted his pants pocket. Thank you. Using the internet to locate her, Annika found the home of Cameron's mother, Sharon Soul. She advanced up the steps to the apartment, stretching out her tight muscles. If Sharon rejected the idea of meeting the son she never knew, that would be the end of it, and Annika would have to relay the heartbreaking news to Cameron. Annika was used to many letdowns during the course of her case, but this was concerning someone else, a client who she didn't want to disappoint. Like pretty much everything else about her, she got that not wanting to fail anyone trait from her loving parents. After she had knocked several times, a woman opened the door. Miss Sharon Soul? Annika asked. The woman blinked, her features gaunt and fatigued. Either she was ill or leaving Cameron all those years ago had certainly taken its toll on her. Yes, can I help you? Yes, hi, I'm Annika Vienta, private investigator. She handed her a business card. Do you think I could come in for a moment? I have some good news I'd like to share with you, if you're willing. Annika could sense the woman's nervousness and didn't want to push, but it would probably be good if Sharon was sitting down when receiving this bit of news. She seemed to hesitate, but then opened the door a little wider. All right. Thank you. Annika entered and sat in a chair by the dining room table. Sharon sat across from her. Annika took note that Sharon didn't offer her anything. It was clear she didn't want the company to stay long. Annika rested her arms on the table, trying to appear relaxed. Miss Soul, I know this may come as a surprise to you, but it's my duty and my pleasure to inform you that your son, the child you had at St. Luke's Hospital 28 years ago, I know him. He's hired me to locate you because he would like to meet you. Her face paled. What? Annika smiled past the cringe she felt her face forming. Yes, it's true. He's interested in seeing you. He seems like a very kind person. When Sharon didn't move or speak, Annika said gently, I know this is a lot to take in, but is there any way you would be willing to meet with him? If you want someone else to accompany you, that'd be fine. Sharon looked like someone about to pass out, and Annika rose. Miss Soul, are you all right? Can I get you some water? I'm sorry, but that was so long ago. She stood shakily. Please leave, Miss Vienda. I need to be alone. Of course. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. Sharon walked swiftly to the door and opened it. As Annika moved past her, Sharon said, Please don't tell him where I live or anything. She nodded solemnly. All right, I won't. But if you change your mind, please call me. Sharon closed the door. Annika exhaled. Really, the reaction hadn't surprised her. It was disappointing, but not near as disappointing as it would be to Cameron. Okay, that's the end of Chapter 2. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Chapter 3. Thanks for watching, guys.